altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
How a failing company converts uncertainty into obedience, transfers its losses onto employees, and keeps changing the bargain until departure becomes impossible. The vice president advances to slide 19 and tells 43 employees that the company is entering a period of strategic realignment. The conference room is too cold. Corporate rooms often are. Perhaps management believes discomfort makes bad news look brisk and professional. On the screen, beneath the words, "Our next chapter," there is a photograph of a sailboat moving across blue water. Its sails are full. The sky is clear. No land appears anywhere in the frame. Revenue has fallen for 3 quarters. 2 senior engineers resigned last month. Neither position has been filled. Expense reimbursements, once paid within 2 weeks, now take 60 days. The company lost its largest contract in May, though the vice president says the contract has entered a transitional phase. Nobody asks what the phrase means. Everyone knows. The client left. The vice president continues. He speaks about focus, resilience, shared sacrifice, and the need to remain agile. Human Resources sits beside him with a legal pad and the attentive expression of a mortician checking whether anyone intends to dispute the cause of death. A project manager near the end of the table raises her hand. "Are layoffs coming?" The vice president pauses. Not because he is deciding what to say, because pauses make evasions appear considered. Leadership is evaluating every available pathway. That means yes. People write it down anyway. For the next 20 minutes, management explains that the company's difficulties are caused by market headwinds, shifting customer priorities, longer procurement cycles, and an unexpected change in the competitive environment. Each phrase removes a little agency from the men who made the decisions. The company was not poorly managed. Weather happened to it. No one mentions the acquisition that consumed $6 million and produced no usable product. No one mentions the sales director who promised capabilities the engineers had warned him did not exist. No one mentions that the chief executive hired his former business partner to conduct a rebranding campaign while payroll reserves were shrinking. The new logo looks excellent. It resembles 2 interlocking circles, which is appropriate. One circle represents the company. The other represents the drain. The meeting ends at 11:12. Employees gather their laptops and return to their desks. Some begin sending private messages. Some stare at job boards without opening them. Others decide the presentation was reassuring because belief is cheaper than revising a resume. One man named Daniel walks back to a cubicle he has occupied for 7 years. His computer displays 31 unread emails. A customer is waiting for a corrected delivery schedule. Finance has rejected another travel reimbursement because the receipt was photographed rather than scanned. His supervisor has added a mandatory afternoon meeting on operational ownership. Daniel knows the company is in trouble. He also knows that companies survive trouble. He remembers the bad quarter 4 years ago, when everyone worked weekends and the firm recovered. He remembers the chief executive walking through the office with pizza boxes. He remembers being promoted after completing a difficult project. He remembers the people who trusted him and the junior analyst he recruited last winter. Memory makes a fine anchor until the water reaches your chin. Daniel earns enough to support his wife and 2 children. His health insurance comes through the company. The mortgage payment leaves his account on the 5th of every month. His younger daughter needs dental work. His wife left her job when childcare began costing nearly as much as she earned. He cannot storm out. The people who recommend dramatic resignations seldom volunteer to make the mortgage payment afterward. Courage becomes very handsome when tailored from another man's cloth. So Daniel returns to work. He answers the customer without promising a date he cannot meet. He attends the ownership meeting, where his supervisor explains that delays have resulted from insufficient urgency among the technical staff. Daniel does not point out that the technical staff has lost 5 people while accepting work from 3 newly signed clients. At 5:30, the supervisor asks him to stay late. At 6:15, Daniel receives an email announcing that annual raises have been postponed. At 6:22, another email invites everyone to a Friday workshop on maintaining a growth mindset during periods of change. He reads both messages twice. Then he opens a blank document on his personal phone and writes down what happened. July 23rd, management denied knowledge of layoffs, raises postponed. 2 open engineering roles remain frozen. Reimbursement outstanding, $1,842. Customer delivery date still unsupported. He does not know it yet, but this is the first movement of his escape. The company is still paying him. His badge still opens the door. His professional reputation remains intact. He has money in the bank, friends elsewhere in the industry, and enough calm to decide where he will go. This interval will not remain open forever. A failing organization does not collapse in one clean motion. It narrows. First, it removes comfort, then mobility, then choice. By the time everyone agrees that departure is necessary, departure has become most difficult. That is the bargain hidden inside the meeting. The company altered its side months ago. Daniel is still expected to honor his. "I am altering the deal," Darth Vader tells Lando Calrissian after Lando has already delivered what was demanded. "Pray I don't alter it any further." The line endures because it describes a particular kind of power. Vader does not break the agreement in a burst of rage. He revises it calmly, after the other party has surrendered the leverage needed to object. Lando gives him Han Solo. Vader takes Princess Leia and Chewbacca too. Each concession prepares the next demand. Compliance does not purchase safety. It proves that further pressure will work. The modern corporation rarely arrives in a black cape. It prefers quarter-zip fleece and a calendar invitation. Its breathing apparatus is a video conferencing microphone that somebody forgot to mute. Yet the principle survives. The original bargain says that the employee will provide skill, time, attention, and obedience within defined limits. In exchange, the company will provide wages, benefits, professional standing, predictable terms, and enough institutional stability for the employee to arrange a life around the relationship. Then the deal begins to change. A position that required occasional overtime requires every evening. Travel expenses once paid promptly become an involuntary loan from the worker to the employer. A promised promotion becomes a future conversation. Departed employees are never replaced. Their duties are redistributed among people who should feel grateful to remain. The salary stays the same, while the burden expands around it. Management calls this flexibility. The employee calls it Thursday. At first, each alteration looks temporary. That appearance matters. A permanent seizure invites resistance. A temporary request recruits cooperation. People will tolerate almost anything for 6 weeks, especially when the calendar containing the end date belongs to someone else. One emergency becomes a difficult quarter. The difficult quarter becomes a rebuilding year. The rebuilding year becomes the company culture. By then, the workers who remember the old bargain have begun leaving, and the new employees assume the emergency arrangement is normal. The contract is changed without a signature. Around Daniel, the office is turning into an invisible court. Every worker stands accused of insufficient commitment, yet the charges are never stated clearly enough to answer. Revenue is falling, customers are leaving, deadlines are slipping. Someone must be responsible. Responsibility travels downward because authority has reserved the elevator. The executive who approved the failed acquisition remains an executive. The engineer who warned against it receives a lower performance rating for negativity. The sales director who promised the impossible speaks at the ownership meeting. The technical staff is ordered to become more solution-oriented. The court does not exist to determine what happened. It exists to assign the cost of what happened to those least able to refuse it. That is why plain language disappears first. A lost contract becomes a transition. A budget cut becomes discipline. A hiring freeze becomes thoughtful growth. A layoff becomes a workforce action. A demand to perform 2 jobs becomes an opportunity to increase visibility. The system launders coercion through vocabulary. Words are altered before the deal because the victim must be prevented from naming what has been taken. A man may object to a pay cut. He is less certain how to object to revised incentive architecture. He knows it sounds bad. He also suspects he may need a graduate degree to prove it. The company becomes a palace of mirrors, in which every reflection tells the employee that his exhaustion proves his weakness, his doubts reveal poor morale, and his desire for clear terms demonstrates resistance to change. The man who notices the fire is accused of bringing negative energy into the smoke. Meanwhile, the exits remain unlocked. For now, Daniel can still leave. But every month of hesitation transfers another piece of leverage. His savings decline as reimbursements stall. His skills narrow around the company's private systems. His outside relationships cool. His children grow more dependent on the health plan. His confidence weakens under a supervisor who describes impossible workloads as failures of personal organization. The machinery does not need to chain him to the desk. It needs him to wait until freedom becomes financially reckless. That is the deeper purpose of uncertainty. Clear danger provokes movement. Ambiguous danger produces delay. If management announced that the firm would probably fail in 6 months, workers would prepare. If management promised recovery and proved it with signed contracts and restored reserves, workers might reasonably stay. The palace offers neither. It issues fog. Fog keeps the productive employees working while leadership purchases time. Fog stops customers from canceling immediately. Fog persuades suppliers to extend another month of credit. Fog protects executives from the consequences of their earlier decisions. The people at the top know more than the people below, and they ration that knowledge according to whose departure would hurt them. The vessel continues because the engine room has not yet been informed that the bridge is studying lifeboat capacity. Daniel returns home after 7. His wife asks what happened in the meeting. He says management thinks the company will recover. This is technically true. It is also the first lie the system has extracted from him. He sees the concern on her face and softens the account. He mentions the new sales pipeline. He repeats the phrase, market headwinds, though he has never used those words in his own life. He says the vice president seemed confident. Then his phone lights up. The supervisor wants revised numbers before morning. Daniel looks at the message, then at his family, and feels the walls of the palace move closer. Because the company has discovered the oldest law of the altered bargain. A captive who still believes he is negotiating can be charged admission to his own cell, and the next revision has already been drafted. Now let us leave the sailboat photograph behind and examine the engine. The company does not need a secret committee devoted to ruining Daniel's life. No executive must enter a dark room, stroke a pale cat, and propose the extraction of one engineer's savings, evenings, confidence, and family peace. The result can arise from ordinary incentives. The chief executive wants to preserve control long enough to secure financing or sell what remains of the company. Public candor about the firm's condition could accelerate departures, frighten customers, weaken negotiations, and expose earlier mistakes. His incentive is delay. The vice president wants to retain his title, salary, and position near whatever survives. He passes optimistic forecasts upward and ambiguous instructions downward. He does not need to believe every sentence he says. He needs each sentence to remain defensible until the next meeting. His incentive is deniability. Human Resources wants to reduce legal exposure, prevent statements that could be interpreted as promises, document performance concerns, and ensure that any departure appears voluntary or properly administered. Its incentive is controlled attrition. Middle management wants to meet deadlines with fewer people. A supervisor who admits that the workload is impossible also admits that his plan is impossible. It is safer to describe the workers as insufficiently organized, insufficiently urgent, or insufficiently committed. His incentive is blame transfer. The employees want income, insurance, references, and enough stability to care for their households. They are willing to endure short periods of strain to protect those things. Management knows this because management designed the compensation structure around those dependencies. Their incentive is patience. Put these incentives together, and the company begins consuming the very people required for recovery. Experienced workers leave first because they possess portable skills, outside contacts, savings, and the confidence produced by having survived previous transitions. Their departure creates a competence vacuum. Work slows, errors rise, customers become dissatisfied. Leadership could respond by reducing commitments, restoring staffing, and admitting that the plan must change. That would impose immediate pain on the people with authority. The cheaper answer is to increase pressure on whoever remains. Daniel inherits another project. The junior analyst inherits part of Daniel's routine work. Neither receives more pay. Both attend new meetings created to track the delays caused by attending the meetings. The bureaucracy begins producing paperwork as a wounded squid produces ink. A new dashboard measures delivery risk. A weekly review examines the dashboard. A corrective action form explains why the numbers are red. A leadership briefing summarizes the forms. Employees who once repaired the product now spend Thursday afternoons describing why the product remains unrepaired. This activity performs three functions. It creates evidence that management is responding. It distributes responsibility across enough people that no single executive appears responsible. It allows the company to extract more information from workers without surrendering more information to them. Daniel must disclose every risk, dependency, delay, and obstacle in his project. Leadership discloses almost nothing about cash reserves, financing, pending layoffs, or the lost contract. Transparency moves upward. Ambiguity moves downward. That is the information architecture of a failing command. Money follows the same path. Consider Daniel's reimbursement. He traveled at the company's request. He paid for airfare, lodging, meals, and a rental car on his personal credit card. The company owes him $1,842. When reimbursement took 2 weeks, the arrangement was inconvenient but bounded. At 60 days, Daniel has become a creditor. He has lent money to a distressed company without interest, collateral, or access to its financial statements. Multiply his reimbursement by 30 traveling employees, and delayed repayment becomes a source of working capital. Finance may describe the delay as a processing backlog. Perhaps it is. Systems often become predatory through neglect before anyone recognizes the value of the predation. Once delay preserves cash, the organization acquires a reason to leave the backlog unresolved. The same logic governs frozen vacancies. 2 departed engineers represent salaries the company no longer pays. Their work remains. If Daniel and the remaining staff absorb it, management discovers that understaffing produces an immediate financial benefit, while the damage arrives later through fatigue, defects, and customer loss. Immediate savings appear in a spreadsheet. Future failure arrives as a surprise.
The company begins transferring risk. Workers provide unpaid overtime when deadlines exceed staffing. Families absorb the lost evenings. Employees finance travel. Customers absorb delayed deliveries. Suppliers absorb late payments. Remaining experts absorb the errors of inexperienced replacements. The public may absorb the final losses through bankruptcy proceedings, unpaid taxes, or abandoned obligations. Senior leadership protects cash and optionality by pushing volatility outward. This is the corporate form of Vader's bargain. The powerful party keeps revising the terms because the weaker party has already arranged his life around compliance. Daniel's mortgage is a lever. His daughter's dental appointment is a lever. His accumulated vacation balance is a lever. His fear of losing health insurance is a lever. His 7 years at the company are a lever, because leaving now would require him to admit that loyalty did not purchase reciprocal loyalty. The corporation did not create his love for his family or his desire to keep his word. It roots those virtues through a system that profits from endurance. That is why decent employees are often the last to leave. The irresponsible man vanishes after a difficult week. The dependable man remains because customers rely on him, colleagues trust him, and unfinished work offends his conscience. A failing organization uses that conscience as reserve fuel. Every time Daniel saves a deadline through unpaid labor, he conceals the true cost of the company's decisions. Every time he protects a customer from internal disorder, leadership receives another week in which it can pretend the disorder is manageable. His competence becomes camouflage. This is where loyalty changes character. Loyalty to a person, duty, family, faith, or worthy purpose can demand sacrifice. Loyalty to a corporate shell deserves conditions because the shell possesses no conscience of its own. It can accept every sacrifice Daniel offers and still send an automated notice disabling his account at 8:04 on a Tuesday morning. The company says it values loyalty. What it values is the behavior produced by loyalty. Those are separate items, though they arrive wearing the same badge. Daniel begins to notice that the organization has stopped discussing victory. It discusses continuity. It no longer asks how to produce a superior product. It asks how to preserve the current reporting period. It no longer asks which leaders made poor decisions. It asks how to improve accountability among individual contributors. This shift marks the difference between a storm and a breach in the hull. A storm is painful but bounded. Leaders name the problem. They cut their own compensation. They protect the productive core. They reduce promises to match capacity. They tell customers the truth. The repair has a cost, a schedule, and an owner. A breach creates a cycle in which every proposed cure feeds the damage. Revenue falls, so experienced workers are dismissed. Service deteriorates because experienced workers are gone. Customers leave because service deteriorates. Management imposes stricter controls on the exhausted staff who remain. Those workers leave. Consultants are hired to investigate morale. The consultants present a sailboat. No single sign proves that an organization is doomed. A lost customer may be replaced. A bad quarter may pass. A capable leader may repair a severe mistake. Suspicion can become its own vanity, especially among men who enjoy feeling smarter than the room. Patterns matter. The disappearance of plain speech is one pattern. The repeated departure of capable people is another. Delayed payments, deferred maintenance, shrinking training, frozen hiring, rising workloads, blame moving downward, and authority retreating upward belong to the same family. Then comes moral exposure. Failing organizations often request small dishonesties before demanding large ones. Daniel receives a draft delivery schedule from his supervisor. It states that the customer will receive the completed system in 8 weeks. The engineering team's estimate is 14. Daniel replies that 8 weeks cannot be supported. The supervisor calls rather than answering in writing. We need to show confidence.
Daniel says confidence will not change the test schedule.
Nobody is asking you to guarantee the date. The document says committed delivery. It's a planning artifact. The customer will rely on it.
We can revisit the schedule as conditions evolve.
There it is. The altered deal. Daniel is being asked to supply his technical credibility to a promise management does not intend to keep. His name will appear beneath the estimate. When the date is missed, leadership can say the technical team provided the schedule. The liability moves downhill before the failure occurs. He refuses to approve it. Nothing dramatic happens. There is no shouting. His supervisor says he understands and ends the call. 2 weeks later, Daniel receives a written performance concern regarding communication style and resistance to business priorities. The court has entered the charge. At this stage, remaining carries several forms of exposure. There is financial exposure. Daniel may lose unpaid reimbursement, accrued compensation, or the savings consumed while awaiting recovery. He may remain so long that he must accept the first available job after a collapse, perhaps at lower pay or in another state. There is professional exposure. His technical skills are being replaced by internal reporting rituals. The longer he stays, the more expert he becomes in navigating one dying company's private maze. Such expertise travels poorly. There ought to be a small brass plaque for the man who becomes indispensable to a department that should no longer exist. Management usually gives him a webinar. There is personal exposure. Months of hidden panic follow him home. His wife receives the uncertainty without the salary or title. His children receive the distracted father. The household carries risks concealed from the employee by leaders who expect the household to absorb them. There is moral exposure. Daniel may be asked to mislead customers, hide defects, move numbers into friendlier columns, or provide technical cover for decisions he opposed. The final stage of corporate loyalty is often complicity wearing a name badge. This is why the quote matters. I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. Vader's power lies less in his ability to revise one agreement than in his ability to make Lando fear the next revision. The victim begins policing himself. He does not ask what the original terms required. He asks what further punishment resistance might provoke. A failing employer produces the same calculation. If Daniel objects to unpaid overtime, will he be selected for layoff? If he demands reimbursement, will management label him difficult? If he refuses the false schedule, will his supervisor damage his reference? If he applies elsewhere, will someone discover it? Fear converts every right into a risk. Then sunk cost joins the prosecution. Daniel has given the company 7 years. He helped build the team. He remembers better leaders and better days. Leaving feels like abandoning something that partly belongs to him. But the company has already spent those years. An 8th year cannot recover them. It can only be judged on what it is likely to cost and what it is likely to produce. This arithmetic feels cruel because human beings experience time as part of themselves. To admit that an undertaking has failed can feel like declaring the invested years worthless. They were not worthless. Daniel learned, earned, built friendships, supported his household, and completed good work. The past may contain value, even when it grants no command over the future. The system wants him to confuse gratitude with captivity. It wants every good memory to serve as collateral for another bad quarter. It wants him to honor yesterday's bargain after management has altered tomorrow's terms. That is how a company keeps a man aboard until the exit becomes an evacuation. The answer is neither panic nor blind faith. It is an exit discipline established before fear renegotiates the line. Daniel begins with a private record on his phone. For 90 days, he records observable facts. Promises, deadlines, resignations, delayed payments, workload changes, lost customers, revised forecasts, and management's explanations. He avoids protected data, trade secrets, customer information, and anything he has no right to retain. He writes down what was said, by whom, and what happened afterward. Memory is generous to hope. Paper has colder manners. One missed deadline may be ordinary error. 6 missed deadlines followed by 6 new explanations reveal a command structure that purchases time with promises. Daniel sets exit conditions. If his reimbursement remains unpaid after the stated escalation date, he will file the required internal complaint and stop financing company travel from personal funds. If management asks him again to approve information he believes is false, he will refuse in writing and begin immediate departure. If 2 more senior operators resign without replacement, he will treat the productive core as compromised. If household savings fall below 6 months of necessary expenses, he will accept the strongest reasonable offer available, rather than waiting for an ideal one. If no credible replacement revenue appears within 60 days, he will leave. These conditions are specific, because vague intentions are lullabies for adults. I will leave if things get worse means very little. Worse has no measurement and no date. Once another crisis arrives, fear will explain that 1 more month is prudent. Then another. A rumor about financing will pass through the office. A manager who broke 5 promises will deliver a 6th with unusual sincerity. One recruiter will fail to return a call, and captivity will begin dressing itself as responsibility. Exit conditions let the calm man issue instructions to the frightened man he may later become. Daniel also writes recovery conditions. He does not want suspicion to become a faith. If the company signs replacement business, restores timely reimbursements, fills essential positions, reduces unsupported commitments, and assigns responsibility to leaders who can act, the evidence may justify staying. A wounded organization can recover. A new speech is not recovery. A new logo remains 2 circles near a drain. Now Daniel must build his lifeboat while drawing a salary. He gathers lawful records he is entitled to keep: pay stubs, benefit documents, employment agreements, performance reviews, training certificates, award notices, and records of his completed work that contain no protected company or customer material. He lists his responsibilities and measurable results in plain language. He does not write supported strategic technical objectives across cross-functional stakeholders. That sentence has escaped from a jar. He writes that he led a 6-person team, reduced test failures by 28%, delivered 3 customer systems, trained 4 junior analysts, and built a process that shortened review time from 12 days to 5. He updates his resume at home on his own device. He contacts former colleagues before he needs rescue. He asks what conditions look like at their companies. He offers useful information when he can. He tells trusted people that he is considering a move and describes the kind of work he can perform. He does not broadcast panic. Smoke on the coat is difficult to conceal, but there is no reason to arrive carrying the alarm bell. He asks 2 respected colleagues whether they would serve as references. He records their personal contact information with permission. He offers to do the same for them. At home, Daniel and his wife examine household expenses. They cancel 2 subscriptions, postpone a furniture purchase, and direct the money into savings. They calculate the minimum monthly amount required to remain housed, insured, fed, and current on debt. The number is less frightening once it is visible. Cash changes the geometry of power. 6 months of expenses can reduce an abusive supervisor from a feudal lord to a noisy stranger who controls a calendar invitation. Daniel studies his skills. Some belong to him, some belong to the company. His knowledge of engineering tests, customer requirements, project estimation, technical writing, and team leadership can travel. His command of an internal approval portal named Pulse cannot. Pulse has 7 menus, 4 redundant status fields, and the temperament of a damp cat. No employer elsewhere will pay extra for mastery of it. He begins refreshing a professional certification. He publishes a lawful technical article based on public material. He speaks with a recruiter. He applies to 5 positions, partly to test whether the market values him as highly as his fears claim it does not. 3 companies respond. 1 interview goes poorly. Another position pays less. The 3rd interests him. This is useful evidence. The first pivot occurs on paper, where reality charges lower tuition. He also learns the rules governing his present employment. He reads the notice provision, restrictions on outside work, benefit termination dates, retirement procedures, expense policy, and unused leave rules. He does not rely on office folklore. Every company contains a man who confidently explains policies last revised during the first Bush administration. Daniel files a formal reimbursement inquiry using neutral language. Please confirm the status of expense report 4172 for $1,842, submitted May 19th and approved May 23rd. The published reimbursement period has passed. Please provide the payment date and identify any remaining action required from me. He does not accuse. He establishes the facts. If finance replies by phone, he sends a short follow-up email. Thank you for speaking with me today. My understanding is that payment is expected by August 2nd and that no further documentation is required. Please correct me if I misunderstood. This sentence is courteous. It also closes a trap door. When management assigns another departed employee's duties, Daniel asks for priorities in writing. I can complete the customer test report or the revised implementation schedule by Friday. I cannot complete both to the required standard within the available time. Please identify which item should take priority and confirm the revised due date for the other. He refuses the silent transfer of impossible promises. When asked to approve another unsupported date, he writes, I cannot validate the 8-week date based on current staffing and test requirements. My present estimate is 14 weeks. If leadership selects an earlier target as a business goal, the document should distinguish that goal from the technical estimate. He separates his judgment from management's appetite. This matters because failing organizations thrive on blurred ownership. They want the expert's name beneath the executive's gamble. Daniel keeps performing his duties. He does not steal files, spread rumors, sabotage work, insult supervisors, or spend every lunch hour rehearsing a mutiny. Panic is poor preparation. Rage feels active while consuming the attention needed for escape. He protects the junior analyst by documenting her contributions and giving her honest feedback. He shares public job leads. He tells her facts she has a right to know, without presenting guesses as knowledge. Leadership is measured partly by who reaches shore with you. The 60-day point arrives. No new contract has been signed. Another senior engineer resigns. Finance pays Daniel's reimbursement after 74 days, but the company announces that future travel advances are suspended. His supervisor asks him to approve a customer report that omits a known test failure until the root cause narrative is mature. The exit conditions have been met. Daniel receives an offer from the 3rd company. The salary is slightly higher, the work is sound, the health insurance begins on the first day. The commute is longer, and the title is less grand. Titles make charming luggage. They become heavy on stairs. He reviews the offer, confirms the terms in writing, checks the start date, and waits until the required conditions are satisfied. Then he resigns. His notice is brief. I am resigning from my position effective August 21st. I appreciate the opportunities I have received during the past 7 years. I will document current work, support an orderly handover, and return all company property before my departure. No funeral speech. No company-wide declaration. No midnight email carrying 7 years of grievances into inboxes where the truth will arrive wearing clown shoes. His supervisor asks whether the company can counter. Daniel listens. The offer includes more money and a new title. It does not include replacement engineers, restored customer trust, credible revenue, truthful schedules, or a different command structure. The counteroffer prices his inconvenience while leaving the breach untouched. He declines. A counteroffer can repair a pay dispute. It cannot make dishonest leadership honest because someone found room in a compensation band. During his final weeks, Daniel writes useful handover notes. He completes what can reasonably be completed. He refuses new commitments extending beyond his departure. He confirms the disposition of benefits, expenses, retirement accounts, and company property. He leaves his work in order because the company's decline does not own his character. On his final day, the vice president shakes his hand and says the door will always remain open. The door had been open for 7 years. Daniel's mistake was waiting for management to mention it. He carries away no customer list, proprietary code, internal files, or protected records. He carries something more useful, an understanding of how the machine failed. He knows where customer promises became detached from technical reality. He knows which approvals managed real risk and which protected a gatekeeper's status. He knows how understaffing hid inside heroic effort, how delayed expenses became silent credit, and how reporting systems transferred liability downward. He knows which colleagues told the truth before truth became fashionable. He knows who protected subordinates, who hoarded information, who completed unpleasant work, and who began polishing a resume while assigning everyone else additional duties. Crisis performs a background check no resume can imitate. Daniel keeps those relationships. He keeps the understanding earned through work. He converts rented standing into portable skill, documented results, cash reserves, and trusted contacts. Then he asked the question that matters after any escape. What dependency made captivity possible? One employer controlled nearly all household income. One health plan covered the family. One professional identity supplied Daniel's confidence. One internal hierarchy controlled his sense of rank. Changing employers without changing that structure would place the same switches in different hands. So Daniel begins modestly. He maintains the household reserve. He performs occasional consulting work when his new agreement permits it. He keeps his certification current. He owns the basic tools needed to demonstrate his ability. He stays in contact with former colleagues. He helps his wife prepare to return to paid work when the family is ready. The second income is small. Its first purpose is not wealth. It proves that money can reach the household through another gate. Complete independence is mostly theater. The man who boasts that he needs nobody usually has a long and tender relationship with a payment processor. The sane objective is distributed dependence. No single employer, creditor, platform, supplier, credential, or association should possess an easy veto over the household. Daniel cannot remove every vulnerability. He can prevent one institution from owning all of them at once. That is the art of the pivot. Observation before movement. Preparation before announcement. A clean departure before fear or necessity chooses the shore. Yet there is a danger here. A man who learns to read institutional decline acquires a grammar of gates, leverage, pressure, and escape. He learns where agreements hide their unstated terms. He learns how dependence makes people obedient. He learns that calm uncertainty can extract more than an open threat. Soon he may discover that the same methods work for him. He may begin treating every relationship as a contract to be revised, every weakness as a lever, every kindness as an unsecured debt, and every commitment as a vessel to abandon when conditions become unpleasant. He has escaped Vader's bargain. Now he must resist the majesty of Vader's mask. The machine speaks clearly once you learn its language. That clarity can become intoxicating. You begin to notice how often people reveal their dependencies. A colleague needs approval. A customer needs speed. A friend fears exclusion. A spouse fears abandonment. A subordinate needs income. Each need creates leverage, and leverage offers the cold pleasure of control. The failing company used Daniel's fidelity against him. It treated his concern for customers as free labor, his care for his family as an instrument of silence, and his professional pride as a source of endless concessions. Daniel could carry that method into his next command. He could withhold information from subordinates because uncertainty keeps them compliant. He could promise future rewards without defining them. He could expand duties while preserving pay. He could praise loyalty whenever loyalty serves him, and call departure betrayal whenever another man chooses his household over Daniel's convenience. He would understand the machine perfectly. He would also have become part of it. Clear sight does not grant moral permission. The villain understands power because he sees people as arrangements of appetite and fear. His corruption begins when he decides this account is complete. Once every human bond becomes leverage, mercy appears foolish. Fidelity becomes a defect to exploit. Trust becomes an opening in the armor. A man can survive a predatory system and still lose by bringing its appetite home. The practical methods of escape must be treated as medicine. Document facts when facing evasion. Set boundaries when terms keep changing. Preserve cash when another party controls your livelihood. Reduce dependence when a gatekeeper abuses the gate. Then put the medicine away. Marriage cannot be governed through exit conditions after every quarrel. Children cannot be managed as underperforming business units. Friendship cannot survive permanent suspicion. Faith cannot become a transaction in which obedience lasts only while rewards appear on schedule. Some ships are sinking. Others require you to work. A worthy commitment should survive boredom, correction, temporary humiliation, and difficult seasons. The test concerns purpose, reciprocity, and the possibility of repair. Are the responsible people telling the truth? Are sacrifices shared? Does the undertaking still serve a good end? Have you tried to correct what lies within your authority? Are you staying from fidelity or from fear? Are you leaving because the structure is predatory or because ordinary duty has lost its novelty? Men addicted to escape call instability freedom because quitting has poor upholstery. They pivot whenever standards become demanding, applause declines, or another shore looks brighter from a distance. Every vessel seems seaworthy until they board it. After several departures, the common defect is standing on the deck in their shoes. Daniel must preserve the difference between a corporation and a covenant. The company was a conditional association. It deserved honest work under honest terms. When leadership destroyed the terms, concealed the danger, and demanded complicity, departure became proper. His family is something else. His faith is something else. The people who have earned his trust are something else. Loyalty belongs most deeply to persons, duties, and worthy purposes. It does not attach forever to a payroll system because the direct deposit once arrived on time. The lesson is stern but narrow. Learn the altered bargain so you can refuse it. Do not make altered bargains with everyone you love. Months after Daniel leaves, the company announces layoffs. The email arrives at 8 in the morning. It describes the decision as a difficult step that will position the company for future strength. Employees lose access within 15 minutes. Severance depends on signing a broad release. The vice president remains. The sailboat photograph reappears in the announcement. Daniel sees the message forwarded by a former colleague. For a moment, he feels vindicated. Then he thinks of the junior analyst, the customer whose delivery will fail, and the families learning that their health insurance ends Friday. There is no joy in having read the instruments correctly. There is only gratitude that he read them while choice remained. That evening, Daniel sits at his kitchen table. His daughter is showing him the gap where a troublesome tooth used to be. The dental bill has been paid. His wife asks about the new job. He tells her the truth, including the parts that worry him. His old phone contains the first note he wrote after slide 19. He reads it once, then closes the file. The company altered the deal. It expected him to pray against another revision while surrendering the leverage required to resist one. He chose another answer. He recorded the terms. He measured the breach. He protected his household, his name, his skill, and his conscience. Then he left while departure remained a decision. Somewhere, another vice president is advancing to another sailboat. Another conference room is cold. Another worker is being told that a collapsing bargain is an opportunity to demonstrate commitment. The machinery depends on that worker mistaking uncertainty for safety and endurance for virtue. Its power ends where clear judgment begins. I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. A threat like that sounds immense when spoken from behind a mask. Put the terms on paper, trace the incentives, count the exits, and the mask becomes smaller. Behind it sits a frightened system trying to purchase one more month with somebody else's life. This is the phantom of the toll booth. Good luck navigating the system.